Well, hello, welcome to Drawing with Fire. I'm Valarie, your neighborhood pyrography artist, joined with hubby and for our babies. Hopefully, may they be quiet today. And today is the final day that Edgar was going to be on camera. So, real quick, if you're new, please hit the subscribe button and hit like on the video. We're going to work on, I'm going to tell you everything I had to deal with him and how much more I still need to do, which thankfully isn't too much, and we will go from there. So this photo right here is where we ended the live last week, and I wanted you to see how much I have worked on it and altered it, and he's almost done. I feel it, he's almost done, but I've done a little bit of fighting with not so much him but the background. Mainly Virginia / Annabelle. So I thought we'd talk about that. I am going to darken her. See, last week that's where she was. I need to darken her more. I still feel she's standing out too much for what I want. I've been having a problem with getting a smooth burn. And there's a couple places I had to fix, and in fixing meant sanding. It alters the texture of the wood. Even when you sand it exactly the way you sanded the whole board originally, it still causes problems. So I need to work on covering those. Down here, I need to darken the vest. This one is more in the light, and I'll put the reference up in a moment. There's a reason this is so dark. I'm burning along, listening to my music, thinking how close I'm getting and what all have I learned from it, when I start dozing off. I got a hot spot in here that was darker than I wanted to go. Although it does appear to be a black vest, so that's okay. But I had to blend it out and cover it, which meant darkening everything else. So I'm going to go ahead and pop him off the last week's piece off the board. We're going to put our reference back up, make it a little bit bigger. There we go. And we're going to get started. Hey Andrea, Michelle, Sheila, Sonia, and let's see if we get more people that come in. So a lot of the burning I've been doing, especially for the dark, is like what we discussed last week, and it's the large spoon shader and the medium spoon shader. And I'm just going to quickly wipe this because
Wanda's here now too.
Hey Wanda, it's a good start. Good morning. Alright, so we are going to get started. So right now I'm going to focus on burning her darker as we discuss things. So I'm at 6. Yes. But that's the heat setting I need because it's already had so much burning.
It's dark. That's dark for you.
It is. Actually, I'm going to flip it off because it heats up really quickly. What I haven't done lately is wipe off with denatured alcohol. So why don't we go ahead and do that first? That way we can see how dark she actually is before I go any further.
You know, I want to say something about you tending not to go dark and why it's relevant to what you're doing right now. And that is, some artists, and that's their prerogative, will go dark immediately. But the problem is that you can only go so dark.
Yep.
If you need to adjust something, then if you've already gone to the limits of dark, that you can go, then you're kind of screwed. So it's better to work lighter to dark and build those midtones and do your adjustments, and that way that if you need some more darkness, that you've got that range to play with.
Yep, and you're going to have to bump up the heat to do that.
No.
Alright, so this is about how wet. I'm going to get the paper towel.
Spence is here now, too.
Hey, Spence!
Spence is here. He's on time.
On time. Alright, are we ready? Let's see what she looks like. Looking at the camera just because I get a different angle. She needs to go darker. I'm thinking her base skin needs to be about that. But because I've burned, I still like the color of the background over here. See, I'm still wiping off because, yeah. Let's wipe down here and see what we're looking at.
How much pressure are you putting on it right now?
Just regular.
Well, what's regular?
Just wiping,
Light?
like you're wiping the counter.
So you're putting some pressure on there.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
That's why I have to hold the board because it'll move around if I don't.
I didn't know if you were just like gently doing it or if you're like really scrubbing.
That's coming off. And if I didn't wipe off and I used a brushed on varnish, I run the risk, it's not guaranteed all the time, but I run the risk of spreading this carbon across the board and getting it into my lighter places where I don't want it. So looking at his vest, this does not need to go darker, but I think I'm going to go darker here. We got light hitting this one, so it doesn't have to go as dark. Because I think if I... Alright, let's all do this together. Okay, board's out. I want everybody to squint at your screen, and I want you to see what pops out to you first, or the most. So his face pops out to me the most, his vest, and the dark background. That is immediately what I see when I squint. Yep,
Yeah.
is his face, the darkness of the vest, which tells me this side needs to go darker
Yeah.
to balance it out.
Because the one collar is so much darker than the other side.
Yeah, so I need to darken this right here. This needs to go a little darker, but not as dark as this because it does have light hitting it, which is why this part is lighter. This shadow needs to go darker. I think his cravat is now dark enough. It's there, but it's not in our face like the lapel of this part. His face can go a little darker. I think I need to have a little bit more balance in the hair. The jacket, fine. Alright. So by squinting, you're changing the view of how you're looking at it.
Spence says his face.
Yeah, his face stands out. Boom! I do need some more darks. I started darkening here, but I still feel I need some more darks. A little bit darker up on his forehead. Eyes, fine. Mustache, lips, fine. Nose, fine. Cravat. Maybe could go a little darker. Jacket, fine. I do need to darken her so he's not. I want her to be barely coming out of the background. She's just a energy over his shoulder. He is not the main point. He's just there watching me.
Bless you.
Hey, Kathy. So hopefully squinting helps. Alright, let's angle it so you can see my pen. Now I can turn it on. Hopefully no doggies are at my feet because I need to scoot you up.
No, you're clear.
Okay. 6 is going to heat up quick. So that's why I turned it off. There was no reason to have it hot. In fact, there we go. So I need to darken her up. And that can be hard to do. It really can. It may have to go step by step. Flipping the board. What I'm not liking is it's not as smooth as I would like, so I may go back over it with the extra large spoon to kind of smooth it out.
What are you using right now with tip?
This is the large spoon.
Okay.
But I really found the grain on this side of the wood, and it just could be the wood reacting more, raising more to the heat more than I wanted. So right now I'm using, get something that I can point with without burning myself. And it's going to get hot. So right now I'm using the left leg right here to get in between the grain. So
Let's heat it up.
If I'm up like this and then I'm turned just slightly, yeah, we're cherry red. So I'm actually going to touch down.
I don't see
in
you
a real hot
top
spot.
that often.
Because I've done so much burning on the board, I have to, or it just won't burn. But and I've noticed this with other pieces, the minute I lower the temperature and go over a burned area, I can actually slightly, and it's not all areas, lighten up an area. I don't know how to explain that.
Okay. Cynthia's here.
Hey, Cynthia. It is what it is. It's not like it's removing carbon. I don't know what it's doing when it does that. I really don't.
And just a little technical note. So when you're burning and your tool is cherry red, or if it's orange or red, you really got to be careful about the pressure that you put on your pen, because when metal heats up, it bends a lot easier. So if you're
soft.
If you're heavy-handed, you can deform your pens and damage them. So you have to be extra careful and have a light touch. I believe that's correct?
Yes.
Okay.
That is correct.
I'm not a pyrographer like you, so.
No. And that doesn't matter what brand of pen.
That's just science.
It's just the way metal works. So if you're having an issue with your pens bending, regardless of brand, turn your heat down. But if you have to go higher heat like I'm having to, a softer hand. You did it! I'm sorry, peoples. I'm off screen when I go up.
Oh, I didn't see. I was watching. I was engrossed in what you're doing.
I think I'll leave a little lighter, but not much. It can't be too much, I don't think.
I know for me, like, especially when I sketch, I've historically been very heavy-handed. So if that's something that you have a she just
sneezing.
Yeah. So you have a tendency towards, it's something you need to be careful of, pyrography. So.
And of course, I get going and then I get going too fast, and I have to slow down. But I think, in general, and it's hard to visualize because we don't see faces coming out of the dark very often. If you do, have your phone nearby. Might need to make an emergency call. So it's kind of hard to visualize how it's supposed to look, because it's not a natural thing. Alright, see, he's really rough and I'm not liking it. I'm going to switch over real quick to the medium. I actually burned my don't blink on the word. Doing that a lot lately. I burned this. I touched down too quick. As soon as I turned my pen off, I didn't give it like even a second to cool off, and I burned my straw. There's the word.
When did that happen?
Yesterday.
Oh.
So this is already going to be hot.
Wow, you had a lot going on.
What do you mean?
Falling asleep, burning your equipment. I didn't know. You didn't say anything.
Because I stopped.
Uh-huh.
We had lunch and I took a nap.
Oh, well, yeah, that's true.
It was like, okay.
Yeah, we both fell asleep, though. We were like that scene in Christmas Vacation when the old guys are falling asleep. That's what happened.
Right,
Cynthia says she keeps telling herself, when burning, light hand, then she lightens up.
Yeah. I don't overly, in general, push hard. I grip hard. That's my problem.
Spet says, I'm having trouble seeing the comments today, and if I make the print bigger, I can't comment. I don't know. I guess, what are you watching on, Spence?
Is this TV?
TV?
I don't know. That's what in the past he's used. Yeah.
He says looks awesome, though.
Thank you. I'm overall, I'm happy with him. I'm not so much with her. Just being honest. With Edgar, I'm happy. With this side of the background, I'm happy. But with her, I'm not getting the feeling I wanted from it. And I've switched over to so many pens. I don't like how she's not smooth.
Cynthia says I do both. I'm not sure what that's in response to.
Gripping and pushing.
Okay. And Spence, I'll keep up on the comments, so if you're having trouble reading them, I will do my best to read all the comments, so you don't have to.
Let's see here.
Burl's here.
Hey, Burl.
She says hi, everyone. Burl's here. I gotta do my job.
Yep, you do.
Spence says, on my iPad, it's my vision.
Oh.
You know, Spence, I got me some reading glasses. Man, I
believe he has some medical issues with his eyes. Yeah, see, I'm not happy with... So I gotta figure out the best way to get what I want.
And
this is where my problem solving has really had to come into play, because it's just not going the way I picture it.
So Spence, I don't know if this would help.
Extra large.
Because I know eyes are complex and there's a myriad of issues that you can have, but my dad uses a big magnifying glass when he reads.
Amazing.
So he looks like Sherlock Holmes whenever he's reading. But in the kitchen, I have thought about that, because every time that I go to cook something on the pressure cooker, I forget what the settings are and I can't read the small print, and I forget my glasses, and I'm like, I gotta go back to my studio and get my glasses. But
okay, I've lowered down to 4.5, and all I'm trying to do is I'm trying to use as much of the tip flat as I can to basically iron the board. And it is, even at 4.5, darkening.
what pen are you using?
This is the extra large spoon.
Okay.
Pat uses numbers. I can't keep up with the numbers, especially when I'm trying to do all this stuff, so I have labeled them.
I think practically it's like...
It just works better for me especially while I'm live.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to go as flat as I can. And think of it as ironing the board.
I see.
Let's see here. Have we gotten darker? Yeah, I think we, at the very least, have gotten...
Andrea says, I too had that problem with the print, or the text. I played with it to get it on the right setting.
I also found that in my board, especially this side, because of how much heat, it's really curled. I think in the future, I will, for something where I know I'm doing a super dark background, I think I'll go ahead and go to the 3/8 wood. I have a couple pieces of that I can cut down, and it'll probably still curl, but less so than this quarter inch. But I can try to iron it and see what happens. It's gonna go in a frame, so I think after a while the frame will just kind of help flatten it out as well. Okay, this is working. We're going smoother.
You can definitely tell because you can see there's some reflectivity in the area that you're working.
Working better. So this is 4.5. Remember when I said that I've noticed that the lower settings after burning dark seems to lighten, but we're darkening here. It is smoothing out. at least from this angle. I did find that this side of the board likes to be burned this way. And sometimes the wood has been like a grumpy teenager.
You know, that's something that we talked about in the past, about how pyrography differs from other mediums, because yes, you might have different kinds of paper or canvas or whatever you're working with, but generally speaking, that surface is going to be uniform across its whole surface.
Yes.
And with wood,
it's not.
You might get lucky, and it might be, or you might have,
we're getting darker.
You might have areas that burn differently, or that have different grain and texture. So.
Yeah, the grain has really fought me on this. So he needs to go darker. We're getting there. I'm having to slow down. I am putting a little pressure, but again, I've lowered my heat, and that's just to, and the only way to describe it, iron the wood. I almost pulled out my regular clothes iron and ironed this side just to see what would happen. And maybe I should do that with another piece of wood. I'm too close on getting this done that I don't.
Boy, that would be like awful if you had
a
big triangular iron mark. No.
Well, I wouldn't be sitting on the wood like that.
No steam setting.
Yeah. No. We want her to feel ghostly. Just watching. Supporting him from a different realm. That's what we want with her.
Bro wants to know who the lady is.
He is, by all accounts, based on everything I read on the internet, he is Virginia, his wife. Her friend, she was very young when they got married, and that's controversial, and we're going to stay away from that. He ended up getting tuberculosis. And her friend, especially as she got sicker, helped nurse her. And unfortunately, the original photo that I use, it is her death painting. So the friend did a watercolor painting of Virginia after she passed. So that is where the actual reference comes from. For this piece, for me, she is Annabelle Lee.
Now, you said that...
To me, she represents, based on the poem and reading their life, I feel that Annabelle Lee was written for her. Yeah, it's just personal opinion. Well, I don't know if it's right, it's not. And that was his last completed poem before he passed. So, and it's the first poem at the age of 10 of his that I ever heard or read.
Spence says it's interesting how back then they didn't seem afraid of showing death.
Yep.
Well, I think there's always been, like a lot of cultures have had death masks made, or death paintings, or things like that.
The home used to be where the wake would occur.
Yeah. I think that...
with the body, sorry.
Yeah. I think that more recently that people have become more...
relaxed. Let's see here. We are getting darker. We are getting darker.
Yeah.
I'm seeing this dark patch right here, and then her eye. So I need to darken this. So I'll go ahead and bump up to 5.5, just because I know this part, and I've worked on trying to darken this part. So.
And I see you're flipping it around.
Just trying to get the best angle and get it where the wood will work with me, not against me.
I see.
Really the best angle. Remember, it's harder to stand on your head and burn than it is to flip the board.
Yep.
Just makes things easier. Well, I want to be a tree. Which I guess is fitting as I'm burning a tree.
You probably better explain that.
Well, we were talking about how the different generations have dealt with the passing of a loved one. I want to be a tree.
Specifically, you want your ashes
To grow a tree.
to grow a tree.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Way to give back, and I think it's kind of fitting considering what I do.
And I also will be a tree
Yep.
because I have no choice.
Yep. Yep. Anyway. It's easier to say than it is to live. Anyway, we're going to move on from that. So, she still needs to go darker, but let's back up. I'm going to turn the heat off because I was at 5.5. Let's back up and hopefully, hopefully, see, it looks lighter there. My paper towel is a little damp, so I can wipe. No, she still needs to go darker. Yeah. Still needs to go darker. So I will keep doing what you guys were watching. I have thought about pulling out the torch and using the heat, but I have less control, although with already so much burning here.
That's a pretty big risk, though, isn't it?
It is based on where I'm at, and I don't know if I want to take that risk.
Yeah. Because...
I mean, I don't know if we're going to the show, not this weekend, but next weekend, because we do have weather coming in. We got 3 feet of snow last week. It was glorious. But I do want this done. Alright, so we need to darken the vest. Or do you guys want me to work on the shadows of the face? I have been using the large spoon shader on the face. I'm going to bump it down to 3 and we can visit that real quick. So in finishing this is what I'm looking for. I need to, let's back it up. I need to define anything that's kind of a little blurry in regards to him. So I need to tighten up the burn here. I need to tighten up the lighter burn here. I have cut into the fabric a bit more so it looks sharper. That's what I wanted. Let's see here. He needs a darker forehead. And I do think I need to put some more darks in the hair so that it doesn't look so... Right now, it kind of, looking at the screen that you guys are looking at, it kind of looks a little cartoony. So I think it needs some more shadow in it. But right here, mainly I feel is where I needed to tighten up so it's not so blurry, because he is in focus. So this needs to be done tighter. I don't need to tighten up the pattern on his jacket. I think that's fine. We can tell it's textured and that it's got that kind of texture. We don't need any more. I think it would take away from what we're doing.
Yeah.
But the solids do need to be darker. Maybe tone down a little bit the cravat, because I put a little bit more creases, like right here's thicker. I put a little bit more creases than it actually has. So I am looking at a reference right next to it. We can see the cravat is closer, not completely, but closer in tone to this lapel. So that has to go darker. That, and it's really curled. The board's really curled, but I can flatten it, and once I put it in the frame, this won't be matted. It's going to have to go into a 8x10 cutout, which is what it's laid out for. I'll put the glass behind it. That way it has more pressure, and it will help, in theory, to... Oh, we were doing the face.
So,
to flatten out.
a couple things. So Burl says she looks to be too light on the curve of her nose.
Yeah, all that needs to go darker.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah. And then the other thing, so Wanda, our big issue is if we are going to be in the middle of a storm, because we have, when Val does the wood carving show, when she goes to compete, we have to take art down.
That's on Friday.
And then we come back up, and then we go back down
Sunday.
And so if we have weather that, like on Sunday, that traps us on the mountain, then Val runs the risk of losing her work.
No, they'll hold it. They'll hold my art. I'm not afraid of them holding the art, or I can get one of the boys to go pick it up.
Yeah.
It's leaving the doggies. If we can't get back up the mountain,
yeah,
they don't have anybody to take care of them, and we're only supposed to be gone for a day.
Yeah.
So that's no big, not even a full day, just...
Yeah, so...
they're the main reason.
So we have to look very carefully at the weather to see if it's feasible or not. Because Wanda was saying she would be there because they're planning on going because you said that you would be there. But we may not be able to go.
Yeah. And
if that's the case, then we'll let you know.
Last week with the big storms, they actually shut down the highways.
Yeah.
Both 40 and 17.
Yeah. So...
I will make sure to post by... I should know. The 18th is when the weather's supposed to start coming in. We weren't even set to get 3 feet. That's just what we ended up getting.
Yeah, Val was so happy.
Oh, I was.
The digging. Oh my God.
Hey, the neighbor across the street, the kid's gotten to be a teenager, so he got paid.
Yeah, and he's going to get paid if we get hit again like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because, oh my God, like...
I'm right now at 3, and I'm using the smooth, not the bowl part of it, but I'm up using the smooth part of the tip.
So a lot of comments. Wanda says, "Oh, that's hard driving."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is. It's what, an hour and a half or something like that.
No, we're going to Mesa. Just to go down, it's like almost 2.5 hours, and then to come back up, it's like close to 4.
Yep. So
and that's even on a weekend.
Yeah. So Kathy wants to know where the show is at.
It is at the Mesa Convention Center on University and Center, I believe is what we saw last week.
And what's interesting, if we do go to the show this year, if weather permitting...
that's the only reason I wouldn't go is the weather.
Is...
because I want to go.
Every year that we've gone, there's been less and less participation.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
Because the generations that are... have traditionally been into,
wood
crafting, and they're passing away, unfortunately, or getting too old to participate anymore, and the newer generations are not picking up the torch. So
yes, I would definitely like to see more younger.
So it's a little weird because you do see less and less people there, and that's unfortunate. And I hope that it has a resurgence of interest, and that it does not die out, because if they can't get enough participation, then that's something that potentially might go away someday.
Yeah, the show's been around, I think it said 67 years.
Yeah.
So Wanda, even if we can't make it because of weather, and weather is the only reason we wouldn't come down, and again, I will make sure to let everybody know, I really hope you still go. You go look at the beautiful art that all these people are making.
Yeah, because it's...
And talk to vendors. They're all really nice. If you don't want to enter, you can by all means enter. You can register the day you drop off on the 23rd.
Yeah. And there is...
It's worth doing.
A lot of cool stuff to see there.
Wood to buy.
Not just... Yeah,
wood.
You could talk to Pam from Woodcarvers, because she's always there. And so you could get actual pyrography stuff, like you could pick it up and look at it, you know.
Well, not pick it up, but...
Well, you know what I mean. You can browse.
Mm-hmm.
So...
See what other people are creating.
Yeah.
And
well, I'm talking about buying stuff from Pam.
Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry. I thought... Duh.
Yes. Yes.
I misunderstood.
You'll be able to see the different levels of competition, and, you know, just the different skill tiers, and then there, you know, that open class. And there's some amazing stuff in there that, you know, there's some really cool stuff. And then you've got wood sculpture, you've got functional pieces. Like last year, I think the last time we were there.
Yeah, that's say we went there last year.
A rocking chair was one of the things that won. But, you know, the craft that goes into this, you know, is just phenomenal. So a lot of really beautiful work. So even if... Yeah,
like mines.
Yep.
Like mines.
And Wanda says, understand our fur babies need us. Yeah, they do. They're not very independent. Burl is trolling you. She says, we are going to be a balmy, sunny 52 degrees. What she doesn't know is that you don't care.
Oh, no. I'm happy. I'm happy. I need to tighten the face just a little bit right here. I'll have to go in with the extra small just to tighten up the line to his face.
Spence says if you send me the information, I'll post it in his he'll post it in his wood carving groups if he's allowed to.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very pertinent for those too. Wood carving, because you get a lot of like Americana stuff, like, you know, cowboys and cactuses, because it's Arizona. You know, like little caricature carvings and things like that. But you get some really cool stuff, like hand-carved guitars and, you know, like sculptures. Some of it sometimes is abstract. It's just beautiful, intricate work. But then other times you'll have, like, you know, I think I saw down there before, like wasn't like a sculpture of a eagle or an owl or something like that. So you'll have like animal sculptures that, you know, and everything's made out of wood or has something to do with wood in one way, shape, or form.
There are mixed media.
Yeah, but it has to have wood in it. So, and
actually, it doesn't. They do have a section for non-wood stuff. They also have a section for the CNS laser. Laser cannot be entered with the rest of the wood stuff. They have their own thing.
Yeah.
Which I appreciate.
But I think you know, if you're a pyrographer, I think it would be a confidence boost because you know, you do, if you've never entered in it before, I think you have to enter in the beginner category, right?
No. You can enter, because when I first started, it was intermediate, because I'd never been there. And then you have to win 3 bigger ribbons before you can move up.
Yeah.
But no, if you've been burning for a while, you can do intermediate. If you've been burning for a really long time, but you've never competed, you can go into advanced, I believe. Maybe not on that.
I don't remember, but I do know that that you're juried in. No? Okay, not juried in. All right, but I do know that in one case that didn't you have some of your work that you were entered and they moved it up to?
They have the they can do that.
Yeah,
If they don't have enough, they can move you.
Yeah, like if they see your work and they're like, this is too good for a beginner, or too good for intermediate, they can bump you up where they think that you belong. But I think that if you do want to compete, it's motivational. But I think you would see, like especially in some of those tiers, I think that any of the toasties really, based on the work that I've seen, I think that you'd be less intimidated by the thought, because you'd see the work and you'd be like, oh, I could do better than this, Not
even better. I feel comfortable with this.
Yep.
Not even better.
I feel like I could be competitive here, and
I think being competitive is good. All right, I'm going to bump up to 5 so we can start darkening stuff.
Burl has been going on. Yes, I know Val likes to live in the dark with no heat. I, on the other hand, need light, heat, and warmth. Bring on summer.
The dark doesn't bother me.
Yeah, you're Elsa. or the witch queen from Narnia.
Well, only if I was good. Don't want to be bad. Always. Well, not always. Anyway. So I'm at 5. And we can see it's slightly darkening. Let me see if I can... It's right in here is where I went. And it went... And I went... I can't repeat what I said.
Yeah.
Can't repeat it.
The words are up there swirling around.
Yes, the words are still there. They haven't gone anywhere.
Spence says yes, but I don't know what I don't know what that's. Sorry, Spence. I don't know what you're being emphatic about.
Right now I'm flat, and again I'm still trying to get in the grain.
So
I'm about to just bump it up to 6. There we go. So we can just go. I'm ready to be done.
Oh, I think he's saying yes, that there's no laser cuts allowed or laser burning allowed.
Gotcha. Well, they have their own category, so I don't know when they added that rule, but they have it prominently on. I think it's on the application actually, or the form. It's not really application, just the form you have to submit. All right. I don't think we need to darken all of it because it's pretty light right there. But I do need some darks down here.
So Wanda says, Burl, where we are, she's willing to hold off on summer. I don't blame you. Wanda wants to know, do they allow actual burns, or is it just the pics like you once mentioned?
Oh no, it's the actual burns. Pics. What did I mention?
I don't know.
What did I mention?
Maybe clarify, Wanda?
I'm wondering if she's... Okay, other art shows... Whoo, gaha! Other art shows, like for the Coconino Center for the Arts, they jury you in based on photos, but this isn't that kind of show.
No, you pay to enter.
You pay to enter, which actually, even if you're just doing pictures, you pay... Oh, that went dark, so guess what? I gotta go dark. And I'm gonna have to be okay with it. Let's turn it. Make sure I'm still on the screen. But it's not a juried show.
No.
That's the difference.
So I misspoke.
Juried show is when you send in photos and then they decide what's going to be in the show. That's not what the Desert Woodcarving show is.
So Wanda says, when I was still in Florida, you mentioned participating. They had to use...
That was probably
Coconino
Center for the Arts.
Yeah.
Because those were juried shows.
Yeah.
So that was only... You were only accepted based on your photos. But for this particular show, the Desert Wood Carving show, it is not a juried show. So
it is judged.
It is judged. It is not juried.
Yeah, and they'll have a panel of judges. It's usually 3.
Alright, we're a little darker.
Spence says no, yes to summer. Huh. Spence, in regards to the laser cut, the laser burning, he says, how do they judge that? Who can push buttons the best?
Yeah.
He says, sorry, not sorry. I don't see lasers as art.
I'm not going to argue with you.
Yeah.
Because I agree.
Because it's a transfer. It's basically, it's just a transfer method.
But I'm trying not to...
Well,
not interested in hurting anybody's feelings if that's what they're doing.
No,
but it's really no different than AI art.
It's not.
I mean, they do have to adjust their photo and get their photo the way they want it before they can produce it.
But I mean, it's no different than if you took this image and then had it put on a T-shirt. Honestly, like it's basically it is.
It's a reproduction.
It's a reproduction of something else.
But I'm also doing a reproduction. It's just by hand.
Right, but you put in that work.
Oh, I agree.
And
I'm trying to walk a very tight line right now.
Okay.
Because I'm not interested in hurting anybody's feelings, and if they're into that, I would really say get a cheap burner and try burning it yourself, and there's a different feeling to it. But unfortunately, people make it about making money, and that's where we're at. So that's darker. Do we need to go... See, it's actually darker in person than it's showing on screen.
It looks pretty dark.
Trying to decide if I need to go darker.
I don't think so, because me personally, well, you understand this process way better, but I think balancing it out first would be the first order of business. That way you don't end up going darker than you have to.
So I bumped down to 5 for this side because this is where the light in the photo is. I do need to darken the shadow here, and then I need to go up and darken the collar. I'm moving very quick in order to control how much heat. When I slow down, it will darken more so than what I was already doing, and this is just so I can get a smoother burn and have some control. Drag it down, get a good shadow under the collar, nice and smooth.
You could put the UFC.
And then this really needs to darken up. It started off light, so it stayed light even though I've worked on darkening it. It just, like the cravat, needs to go darker. I do like how it looks turning in with the button. Up close, the button doesn't read quite right, but from a distance, it does. So I have to decide, do I want to keep focusing on that or let it be?
So, we get a lot of comments here.
Okay.
I'll get through them. Andrea said, real quick, she says, you got that right as far as the darkness. And then Wanda is saying, you once mentioned that if we're burning a picture without creating art with it, it's not really art. I don't know.
No, when we're burning, it will never be exactly like the photo.
Yeah.
That is art. When it's the laser, I don't feel that's art.
Yeah, because you
don't have to change it, because as you're burning it, you are changing it. You are making it different than just a regular photograph. Wanda, who you been listening to? Because I don't feel that way. I do photos all the time.
So, but that's why that...
this is good, so we can dispel any maybe misunderstandings, or maybe I did misspeak. Maybe I did say something that came off wrong because I'm trying to do so many things at once, and maybe I've confused So let's fix it. Let's fix it all.
So I would say, for clarification, that like when you as an artist, doesn't matter what medium you're using, if you are interpreting a image, whatever that image is, you are putting your personal touch on it, and that's why when we talk about doing portraits, like especially even now, portraits are still something that it's not done as much, but it's why that they're still a kind of a status symbol thing, to get your portrait done, and by a specific artist, because you're getting that artist's interpretation of you, and so
that's always what a portrait, piece of artwork is.
So in this case, Valarie she's made some additions to Poe's portrait, but it is her interpretation, and she spent hours and hours and hours with it.
I think I'm easily over 25 hours, just because of how long I've spent trying to darken everything up.
But I think that the difference is that when you use the mechanical process as the end result, I think then that I think that people would, there's people who want to be artists or want to create art, and that is a quick and seductive way to do it, because then they just have it. And so when you're talking about laser burnings, they have the image and they've transferred it over, whether they've made any alterations to it or not. But it's a mechanical reproduction. That part of it is not art.
Now I'm wondering if I've misspoken a lot and people have misunderstood.
Well,
I've kind of screwed that up. I know.
And that is the problem.
I mean, it's definitely possible. I'm
and
trying to do all this stuff. I could have totally misspoke.
And that is the problem with AI images. We don't say art, because you have people who, they do the prompts and they, pops out something, that's looks cool, but
well, that just went dark. So guess what? I'm gonna have to darken it. Sometimes it helps because then it makes you do what you already knew you needed to do.
Yeah.
But we're a little on doing it.
Yeah.
If you go a little dark somewhere, you just, in order to balance and make it feel right, you gotta darken around it.
Yep, and that's,
So it could be considered an oops, but not really, because now I'm gonna have to do what I already knew I had to do, but was kind of not, what's the word?
Reluctant.
Yeah, reluctant.
Dragging
my heels to do. But now I gotta do it.
Because
same as what I did over here.
Yeah, I did the same thing when I'm painting, is that like I'll see something that I've done that I thought I was happy with before, but then I'll see it and then it's like, ugh, I don't really want to do this, because that means that I've got to, get out all these paints and I got to color match and I've got to adjust it and it's going to take time. And why can't it just be done?
Oh yeah, I'm to the point where I want to be done with this. I've spent so much time on it, but I know if I just spend a little bit more time, I can't give you an exact number, but if I spend a little bit more time, I will be happier with it in the end. And I know this because knowing and doing can't be two different things.
No, that's true. Wanda says no, she's not good at restating things, but I don't think that.
No, if I've been misspeaking, then it totally needs to be.
Yeah.
I'm switching over to medium.
Andrea says, it's your work. I think that's the key statement. It's your work, because I think in any process, if you are an artist, you are the one who's executing the work. You're the one that's getting it done, and it's your skill and talent and your observations and adjustments that make it yours. I think that is what defines being an artist. Your interpretation of it that is funneled through your skills onto whatever medium that you're outputting into. But when you have a process where you are directing someone or someone else to do that, then I think that you cease being the artist and you become a client. And that is the case for AI images. It's the case for laser work. It is the case for a lot of mediums where there's mechanical reproductions. Now, I will caveat and say that, let's say that you are an artist who does, your own original work, and maybe you prefer it output onto a mechanical medium. Like we say, like in the instance of like putting an image on a shirt, all right, mechanically through another process. But if you created that whole image to begin with, then yeah, it's that part of it is your art. But the output, it can be your art, but you have worked on that image and you have created something, and that's the output. And I would say that even in the case of laser burning, if those people actually worked on it, sure, it's art, but is it pyrography? No. That's your mechanical process that you use to put your original art onto something else. So I don't think that you could claim to be a pyrographer. That's just how you output your product. Does that make sense? Kind of the difference, like you've got t-shirt artists who paint directly on t-shirts, or muralists who paint on walls, and that's what they do. But if you are someone who creates a piece of artwork, yes, you have created that artwork, but if you use a mechanical process, an automated process of some sort, to output that onto something else, like a wall or a shirt, then that does not make you a t-shirt artist or a mural artist. That's just where you've chosen to mechanically reproduce it. It's a really weird fine line, and that's why there's so much controversy too, because there's enough, not gray area, but I think that there's enough discussion about it where some people feel like that they can claim that title as artist without doing the work, and that's a problem, I think.
I'm just trying to darken this because it does look darker, but then when I look at it with this, it's just not dark enough. And this is what the final details that I will spend a lot of time on final details. So when I say final details, I'm talking about I've blocked everything in, I've erased as much graphite as I can possibly get off the board, and I'm starting to make my adjustments. That's final details. So right now, I'm trying to adjust this vest, but that's so dark that I'm having a harder time trying to get it balanced. But we can see it getting darker. And I can pop up the other picture again of where we ended last week's live, just so you can see how much it's changed.
Yeah.
And it has changed. In fact, I haven't had the picture up for people who came in a little late, so let's pop that photo up. So this is where it was last week when we ended the live, so we can see that difference. I didn't have to go as dark on this lapel as I did. Like I said, that was an oops.
Kathy says, looks great, Val. Don't forget to give a thumbs up.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Spence says there's been so much AI imagines being passed off as someone's carvings in Facebook groups, and it makes me mad. Yeah, as an artist, it does. I think it makes most of us mad. I mean, the bottom line, you can get into the gray areas, but the bottom line, if you use a mechanical process to create an image and you didn't put anything into it, if you're not connected to that image.
So the image I used that I made for my pattern. It's kind of, I wouldn't call it a piece of art in itself. Me transforming it in this way is what makes it art.
Yes. Yes. But you know that's less controversial when you have people that basically they generate something and they're like, "Oh, I'm an artist now." Like, no, you're not. And I think that it's disingenuous to pass it off as something that you did. You know, like, hey, I created this, because what people hear or think when they hear that is that, oh, this person, you know, has, you know, skill, and they did this and it took time and that's amazing, when they didn't. But that's the point. That's why they're doing it. They want the accolades without having to do the work. It's lazy. And yeah, it makes all of us artists angry, I think. I think that
I really wish AI didn't go to the public, that it stayed within the sciences.
Because it has great applications, but you can't. But we have a problem in the human race.
We can't have nice things.
We can't use our powers for good.
We just can't have nice things. Yeah. But I think it's extremely useful for sciences.
Sure.
Still not dark enough.
We're.
I need to wipe it again so I can check, because we have darkened.
How much longer are we going? We have surpassed an hour.
Oh. I just like hanging with them that I lose track of time.
But I'm
going to wipe and talk at the same time.
Okay.
Ah.
I need to go.
Okay,
Do I need to go and come back? Or are we close?
Say bye to them.
Okay. Well, Wanda says, my friend suggested next time I burnt Poe or Beethoven, it should make them happy. So I reburnt Beethoven with a smile just for...
Now, is she going to buy that piece off of you?
Yeah. I mean, that's cool.
I'm sure Poe had his, and Beethoven had their very happy moments.
I'm sure.
But in the public eye, we don't know them in that way.
No.
So I would say it's a personal choice on how you would like to portray the... hello. Are you going to walk out with Dad?
She's like, Mom.
You're stepping on me right now. Ma. Let's wipe his coat.
Yeah.
Let's see where we're at.
Okay, one more. Andrea says, when the button area has to go dark, how would you do that without being too dark?
So we're talking about right here. It probably needs to go dark to about here. It'll still be balanced. It has a little highlight on it. Actually, I put less of a highlight than what's in the photo. As long as we can tell, it does need to darken. Now that he's pointed it out, I can see it needs to darken. I would probably go with lower heat. Alright. To lighten it slowly. Alright, how dark are we at? I went way dark on this, so...
Spence says, looks awesome, Val.
Thank you so much.
Guys, I have to run.
Go do what you need to do.
You guys, good hanging with you. Thank you for everything.
Next week will be just the members.
Make sure that you like, comment, subscribe.
Yeah, I went really dark, and I gotta darken it up right here so it meets. So this total value right here is what needs to go here and here, with a little bit coming up just because it's bending. So we would have, maybe not. And I do think the cravat needs to go darker. See, this is darker in person. That's the word I was looking for. Let's check her. Definitely needs to go darker. I need to darken the hair. Let's see, we darkened some here. It still needs to go darker. Let me pop up my reference. It'll be easier to see. Let's make it a little bigger. Just so I can see. I need to tighten the line up against his face. I've made him a little too round, I think, right here. So I need to fix that. I'll use the, I'll start with the 18 small, just so I can get in there, and then I'll have to work on, so I'll put it in there, but I don't want a heavy line at first, and then I'll have to drag out and then blend with higher temperature to see how dark it needs to go. But looking at my reference, we've got some light that hits here. That can even go darker on the highlights. Need to go darker here and here. So what I am doing in order to get my final details right is I am critiquing my work. Not myself, but the piece itself and what it needs in order to get to where I want it to be. So looking at the reference, she has to go darker. The hair, especially right here, looking at the reference, the hair here, the hair a bit here and under here. It can be a little lighter on top because the light's hitting it, but all this right here needs to go darker. I'm fine with this, so I'll leave it. This needs to go darker. I may actually need to bring down the shape of the dark background to shape this so it's less round. It's a little poofy right here, and I don't think it needs to be as poofy. Yep, see, I got a little too poofy, so I need to bring it in there. In the reference, there is some hairs that stick out here. They're here, we can see them. I'm not going to mess with them. I'm fine with them being as dark as they are, so I'm not going to mess with that. The shadow on his face right here still needs to go darker in order to thin out his face, because right now he's looking a little chunky because of this curve right here. So I need to fix that curve actually quite a bit. It needs to come in and come down. Yep. So once I do that, it will change the shape of his face immediately. Let's see here. Ears fine. Some of this needs to go darker. We can have lighter strands out. When I varnish, see, I'm sure you notice some dull areas in the burning. When I varnish, I'll varnish with, I'm going to spray this with a workable fixative. I don't know that it really needs any white highlights. I think I'm doing pretty good. If we look at the wood, it's not going to go quite that dark, but it is. I need to bring some of the wrinkle over here. Darken the middle of the wrinkle. Yeah, some of these shadows need to go darker. I need to finish filling in. Darken here. Bring up the darkness in the cheek a little bit. Yep, it's just gonna, I still need to darken. By next week, this will be done. So us members, we are going to go back to, this is the last public live, we will come back probably in April with a new public project. I need to spend time with the Super Toasties. We need to hang out and do our thing. So probably the end of March, we will come back to a public piece. I don't know what that will be. The Super Toasties and I will discuss But next week I'm going to pull probably the kids so we can get that one finished as much as possible. Overall, I'm pretty happy with this piece. Let's bring it out so we can look at it in its full. Yes, it is curved, but it will go flat. We can see how much darker it looks when I pull the camera back. Pop that up a little bit. They're closer. The camera is closer to what I'm seeing in public. He definitely has to go darker. Do we have any more questions? Let's see here. Please. Thank you so much, Cynthia. What's our thing, bro? Just hanging out. Being how we want to be. Less restrictive. If I got something to say, I got something to say. And we don't have to worry about things. You haven't been in one of the members' lives lately. Granted, I had December and January more. Anyway. So, Guido, thank you so much. And the reason I say hi to everybody is because you've walked into our house and you're being with us. There's a reason why I'm addressing that. Anyway. Next week, we go back to Members Live for a month. So if you want to become a member, you can hit membership. It is... Where is it? I'm looking for the button on the live. Not seeing it. Just click my icon down below the video and it'll take you to the channel page and you can subscribe there, or down in the box for this live stream you will see a Ko-fi link. You can join membership that way. And because I haven't sent in a while, this is basswood, 1/4 inch solid piece. I have the link down in the description if you want to buy that wood. You can get it in 8 by 24 and cut it down to whatever shape and size you want, which is how I do it. And there's different thicknesses that fits your needs. Alright, and as for the Desert Wood Carving Show, I will know by this time next week if we're going. And I will post it everywhere. So you know what to say with me. You're awesome. You can do this. Why? Because you're a pyro artist. Happy burning, guys. Bye. Aw. Wanda, I hope Puppy gets better. Bye.